The track that actually inspired that probably was Love Will Tear Us Apart. I heard it on a radio in a hotel room when I was embarking on a love affair. And it seemed to be a pure moment, a great soundtrack for that point in my life, even though the sentiment of the song sounds like it's quite odd for that moment, but it sounded great to me. And that conjured up the ideas of a Play Misty for Me thing, where a guy needs to hear a song for the lovers. He needs to hear the track that I'm actually singing. So it's just a weird, twisted concept, fused with a bit of Forever Changes, a bit of Scott Walker, throw it all in a big stew and see what happens. I wanted to make a more rounded record, a record that could be far more a soundtrack to your life. And in order to do that, you have to take people to different places. And, you know, on the last album beforehand, if anyone got past Bittersweet Symphony and actually listened to the rest of the record, they would have, you know, we touched upon quite a few emotions in that record, but I'd be expecting with one of my records an emotional piece of music, a soulful piece of music. I'd be expecting to hear musicians and instruments taken out of context and fused with others. I'd be expecting to hear a record with depth and a record that you won't grow out of. You know, it will get better with time. It's about putting these moments down on tape. And often there'll be a moment that happened 15 minutes down the line in a jam, and this moment will be brought 12 minutes upstream, distorted, twisted, played 15 times and then never happened again. There's a chaos within it, but it's an art, you know, there's still an art form within the chaos. But it's not an art form that you would ever analyse. It's just a random acts that leads to another place, and often it's the mistakes that sound great and it outstrips your imagination. I don't think I learned anything from that. I think I just, it backed up things that I've always thought, you know. I think the essential thing with that sample is that, you know, I don't know if anybody has heard the Staple Singers track. I can't quite remember the title now, but, you know, the Stones song is, you know, very simply a complete rip-off of the Staple Singers song. And the tributary in the river carried on a few years, and I picked it up where they left off and made something that didn't sound like anything else that had ever been made before, you know. So it was a good piece of art, and I was aware that if I took the sample out, it wasn't going to sound the same, because I was in that self-obsessed point where every single little thing creates something else, and then if you take that out, it's not going to be the same. And I could have done that, and it was too late. We'd finished. So we just let it out. We let it out because we knew it was an interesting piece of music, and it was a wild song, and people needed to hear it, and we'll take the consequences after. But it was interesting to see how corporate kind of America and England and Europe kind of jumped on the track once it was seen as it was there and they could have it. And all the kind of there's been a lot of advertising music that's very similar to it or close to it. It's like very strange, but essentially I come out with it and see it as a piece of pop art.